Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I am your host, BMR, and as always, I'm joined by the bearded one, TEX. I also will be joined with the lovely Kristen Payton a little bit later. Well, during the show, that is. If this is your first time here, please subscribe, give a thumbs up, hit the alert bell, and share with friends. You're going to find us on YouTube at Texas Front Porch. You can also find us at my channel, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Please subscribe to both channels. You can also find us on Odyssey Radio, iHeartRadio, KPNL Radio, also wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Spreaker. We're on Facebook at Texas Front Porch. You can also reach us by email at paracryptidencounters@gmail.com or by text at 972-559-0988. If you enjoy our content, would like to support us, the Super Chat is always open, or you can Venmo us at @text6717. Hope you enjoyed today's show. And speaking of today's show, we had MK Davis scheduled. Now, MK called me last night. MK lost a crown to his tooth, so he is rescheduled for August 25th on Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. And I got a couple announcements. I'm going to bring up Tex and Kristen here. But, a couple cool announcements, and it's basically Texas Front Porch, my illustrious bearded wonder, my buddy Tex. Go check out his store. He's got new products on his store. I believe, Tex, we can find that on your YouTube channel. And also, BMR, I just put out a store. It's called BMR's Boutique and Shop. Boutique and Shop. I want the ladies to go peruse it. And that's SHOPPE. So it's very different, very different. Please go check it out. You can find that on my YouTube page. Go in the About section. There it is. Just check it out if you would. And, Tex and Kristen, we got a cool show. It's going to be an encounter show today. But before we get into that, I was talking to Kristen earlier, Tex, about weather. Last night, I lost power, man. It came on at 5 this morning. 108 heat index. I woke up in a puddle of sweat. I got to ask, down south, how do you guys put up with that heat, especially without an AC? Has that ever happened to you?
Without AC? Oh, you got to back up, mister.
No.
AC isn't a luxury down here.
It's a necessity.
That's a necessity. That probably comes included with the price of the home or the apartment or wherever you stay, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find a home or anything without AC down here.
Mm-hmm. You have got to have it. It's so humid. Ugh.
Yeah, no, we get the humidity in August, and I was telling Kristen, we get in Michigan, we get wind in May and April, May, however you want to term it, and that's fine. But June, July, and now the start of August, I don't understand it. I mixed up the months.
No, I was looking at it. Anita Collier is in the chat.
Hi, Anita.
Very, very dear friend of ours.
Yeah,
she hosted the Alabama Bigfoot Conference, which we spoke at and everything. And she says, "Hey guys, we don't sweat down south; we glisten."
Well,
let me get this straight real quick.
Yeah.
Jessica and Kristen glisten. I sweat my ass off.
No, yeah. I sweat in the humidity. Yeah, that's a term for our two lovely co-hosts and hosts, Jessica and Kristen. Our ladies from down south. Well, for me, they're down south, right around your parts, Tex. And, here, yeah, I just sweat. And, boy, I woke up. I had to change all my sheets, throw them in the washing machine. It was terrible. I mean, I literally woke up moister than I. We don't. Then I'd like to care to share. Then I like to.
We don't need to know why you needed to wash your sheets or why you didn't need to wash your sheets. No, it's lovely women like Anita and Kristen and Jessica. They glisten, and me and Rob and Bob and Randy and Jason. We sweat our ass off. There's no other way to put it. Yeah. We are sweat hogs.
Yeah, Sharon in chat said us ladies perspire. That's another way to say it. Yes. But glisten, yeah, it's got a kind of a sexy undertone to it.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is kind of, yes, MK Davis, as I mentioned earlier, he was supposed to be on today, which is, hey, you know what? He lost a crown to his tooth last night. He called me, Rob, I'm sorry, but can I come reschedule? Of course I rescheduled him. And I don't know about you, Tex, Kristen, but I tell you what, the dentist in your teeth is something that you don't want to play around with. So I told him, go ahead and take care of that because you don't want that getting out of hand because that can go crazy in a hurry.
I'm going to tell you a little secret. I have now, believe it or not, and I know everybody out there knows I chew tobacco, and ditch snuff, whatever you want to call it. But and I don't make no bones about it. Hell, I dip on the show, and if you don't like it, I apologize. But I have never had a cavity. I've never had. I've never. I don't have a crown. I don't have a cap. I've never had a cavity or anything.
Wow.
Man, that's awesome, Tex. I can say I had a couple cavities as a kid. I got no crowns or caps or nothing. Not to get into it, Kristen, but how many cavities have you had growing up as a youngster?
I don't. As a youngster, none. But as an adult, my teeth are so soft. But it runs in the family. So yes. So I brush like crazy every day. So I don't want any more issues with my teeth.
And it says knock wood, so here we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And so anyways, working on a fly, trying to come up with a show. Tex, you had put out a post, which was great, talking about the encounters. We're going to do some encounter talk today, and it's kind of cool because if you guys remember, Tex, way back when we had Kristen on as an actual guest before she joined the team, I kind of missed her encounter because, as we know, I had gremlins, and I think 22 minutes into the show, I disappeared. It's like I went through a portal, not to return. So I missed that show. And it was a pretty popular show. Yeah, I rewatched. Go ahead, Tex.
That's not the first time that you've abandoned me.
No.
So in mid-show.
I've done it. I've done it, I think, with my internet twice. Maybe 3 times. I know twice for a fact. But now I do have the new system. Thanks to our engineer, Randy. I got to give Randy some props because he picked out a cool system for me that I purchased and have not had a problem since. But we lost power yesterday, as I mentioned, but the computer's running. I got this nice little system running, and so we're good to go. And I'm sorry for the abandonment text because I hate to leave you hanging. So
well, I got to tell you, the first time you did it was with Dave.
Yeah, when we're on his show. Yeah, that's where it all started.
That was, just leaving me high and dry with Dave is one thing. You can leave me high and dry with Kristen anytime you want. So, in fact, I might, if I accidentally hit the button to take you off air, I just
oh no, it crashed again.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Kristen, well, you know what? I'm glad Tex brought that up, Kristen, to everybody listening out there. Oh, and by the way, you're at the first hour of the show, up till 52-minute mark. It's live on Odyssey Radio, iHeartRadio. Then we're going to take a 5-minute break. Then you have to subscribe to Texas Front Porch, TEX''S Front Porch, or Bigfoot Michigan Rob to pick up the second half because this is going to be a pretty cool show. It's going to be a fun show. And real quickly, though, we usually do an hour-and-a-half show on BMR show, right? And then I noticed when I went to watch the replay, the Tex had you on. He held you hostage for a record 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Really?
I said, boy, yes, a record for Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. He loved that show. It was a good show. And I did have to make mention of that.
Oh, it was a good show. I enjoyed it. I didn't mind being held hostage. Like I said before, you can't kidnap the willing, so.
Yeah,
I like that. That's an awesome comment, awesome statement.
Well, in a little inside baseball here, we were all talking. We group text. We have a group text between everybody on the team, and we're talking every day. We're back and forth. And poor Kristen works nights, so she gets up in the middle of the afternoon, and then she gets flooded with all these texts, and she's got to catch up on everything. And so about, I don't know, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll start getting all these Kristen likes this image. She loves this image. She lives this. You are the likingest, lovingest person I know.
I know. I'm going back. I'll wake up and I'll have like 30 text messages, and I'm like, start at the top and start reading down. I'm like, oh yes, good idea. Like, but because it'd be kind of weird if I started saying a reply to something 20 text message up. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get a kick out of that too, because we'll be talking. Chris is always the late owl, night owl, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, a little delayed reaction, but we do understand, Kristen, because you are working. You got those crazy hours, working in the in the ER, and with that being said, again, I missed your encounters, Kristen, and me and Tex can talk about ours, dogman and Bigfoot, but for a lot of people who may not have heard what you've experienced, why don't we kick it off with you and pick whatever you want, whether it's the cube, whether it's Bigfoot, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you want to talk about. Why don't you start us off with some of your experiences, because you're newer to the channel and a lot of people might not be familiar with you. So why don't you go ahead and fill us in?
All right. Well, talking about teeth, it actually brought up a pretty good memory here. So I don't know what you guys think about this, and it sounds really weird. It could have all just been a bunch of dreams, but I'm not quite sure. I was attacked, and I guess you could say attacked, I don't know, by something in my sleep. Gosh, this was after we saw the possible portal or cube in the meadow. I know Jessica also had some weird orbs in her house as well. I don't even know. This sounds really weird. So I lived in an apartment by myself. And once every 2 weeks or so it happened probably 4 or 5 times, something would come in my bedroom at night. But I would be sleeping. And I would be dreaming this. So I would go to sleep, and then in my dream, I would wake up from sleep, and there would be these lights, orbs, I guess you could say, lights coming into my bedroom. And it was the same dream over and over and over. But, we just lost Rob.
No, we didn't lose him. He just turned his camera off.
Okay. I was like, there he went.
No, I'm here. And folks... That tells you how new she is.
Yeah, right.
Like,
when we lose somebody, they go completely.
We're gone. Yeah,
they go dark.
We go dark. Yeah.
But these lights were coming into my bedroom, and it started off when the lights come in, I would wake up. Well, the second dream, lights come in, and these little, I don't know, beings would manifest. I don't know what you would even call it. And they were trying to pull me out of bed. So I'd wake up. Well, this continued, and each time I'd get pulled a little more. They'd get a little more violent. The very last dream, I guess you could say I had, I was being pulled out of bed by this, I felt like it was a female. It was really weird because in my dream, I could never actually see what was grabbing me. But I would wake up with bruises on my hands or arms, scratches on my legs. I even went to work one night, and my coworker, she was like, "What happened? Who got you? Who grabbed you?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I had it look like on my arm where someone had grabbed me. I actually had fingerprint bruises on me. Now, I'm not a sleepwalker and normally don't fight myself in my sleep, so I don't know. But the last dream, I actually woke up as my head was hitting the headboard of my bed. Even chip from my little tooth here. Still have a little chip here. And after then, no more dreams. So I don't know. Maybe it was just horrible dreams, but I don't know. I've never had that before, and I haven't had it happen since. But the last dream, I was fighting this, like I said, I thought it was a female hard because I was trying to be pulled out of my bed. I'd wake up sideways in my bed. So I don't know.
Well, that's not the first time that we've heard that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We went and investigated the Hill House in Mineral Wells, Texas, and one of the reports was that a woman had fell asleep in one of the beds, and they were there, investigating the place, and she got pulled completely out of the bed.
Wow.
And there's documented stuff that in fact, one of the owners, she got so beat up while she was in the house, not being asleep, but just beat up by an entity that, it looked like she'd been in a fist fight. Her face was all swollen and everything, and she will not go back. She will not stay alone in the house overnight anymore.
Wow.
And and they're professional investigators and stuff, so it's nothing new to them, this kind of stuff happening. But yeah, she will not go in there by herself anymore. So, and then while we were investigating it, Bob got scratched. So did I show you those pictures of him getting where he got scratched?
I don't think so.
I'll bring those up real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and bring those up. And I'll chime in real quick too, because I want to focus on Kristen's encounters and stuff. But I've mentioned this before too, because Kristen, I thought I was dreaming too. I had an encounter. I had something going on in my house a while back where I'd be sitting in a chair. There'll be mist coming down a hallway, a dark mist, and I think I'm awake. And people say it's sleep paralysis, but I don't know, because I'm watching TV. I kind of pinch my arm. This thing is coming down the hallway. It's kind of floating 6 inches off the ground, swirls around my chair. Now I get paralyzed. I can only move my eyes. I can't move my arms, my legs. Very terrifying. And long story short, I talked to some people, and they told me to, maybe pray to the Lord or whatever your belief is, and it goes away. So, but this happened to me on several occasions where I was very scared to go to sleep. And as I made mention, I wasn't sleeping. I was sitting in a chair. It hasn't happened in a very long time after I started doing that. And I did some sage around my windowsills and doorways. And, I kind of resonate with you. I was really scared, didn't know what that was or what I invited into my home. But I think when we have encounters and experiences and research this stuff, I think that, we do open ourselves to this types of exposure versus the average Joe.
Yeah. Yep. And I want to just blame it on, hey, I was just dreaming, but this happened, like I said, 4 or 5 times or so, about once every 2 weeks. And, it was the same thing. And every time it became a little more violent. And I guess the dream lasted a little bit longer. But when I was in my dream, I didn't feel like I was dreaming. Like I was wide awake. I was fighting whatever this was trying to pull me out of bed. Because I wake up, I'd have bruises and scratches on me, but I would fight hard. And that last go round, I got pretty rough here. My fist did pretty good, but it all went away. It stopped. So I feel like if it was just a dream, it wouldn't have kept happening, or either I'd still be having those dreams. But no, it just stopped. So I feel like I won.
Yeah, maybe you kicked its butt, and that's why it quit.
It's like I give up. But yeah, it was right around the time Jessica was having orbs, and right after the Portal Meadow incident. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, if you just kind of fight it, and I think with a lot of whatever these things are, whatever's happening to us, I think a lot of times I think it preys on fear. And I think if you don't show fear, certainly the first time it happens to you, I was scared. It scared the daylights out of me. And then the more research I did into it, the more people I talked to, I was not afraid. I mean, it happened. Trust me, I was afraid. But I think it feeds, especially if it's like a nefarious entity, right? It preys off your fear. But when you show that you can be, hey, get out of here, leave me alone, and have that stance, and depending on if you are a believer of Jesus or what have you, throw that in there. But of course, you have to be a believer, because they know if you're not, right, if you're BSing them. And then I think that they go away, and I haven't had a problem since, thank God. Because I tell you what, I've had some. We all know about my Bigfoot encounter, which was scary, but this I did not like at all, and it hasn't happened in a long time, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. As our Cryptidville asked if there were any glyphs or stick figures where the portal occurred, and not really. We found a tree whose limbs had been at the top almost like woven together. And then, later on down the road, it was gone. So that was the only weird thing we had found.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. I still have my little chip tooth.
Yeah. And Brian in chat says, does Bigfoot respond to Jesus? I mean, I have no idea about that. I just know that I've seen Bigfoot, and I didn't talk about the Lord or Jesus. I'm talking about, I felt there was like evil in my home, right? And that's when I cited, Jesus. As far as these other cryptids, I don't know. I don't play much into that. It's just when I'm scared and I think it's some demonic force where I'll play the Jesus card. And I don't mean it to sound trite when I say that, because I do believe in God. So
yeah. Yep. Yeah. What about you, Tex? You ever been yanked out of bed?
No, ma'am, I have not. If and when we went to when we was going up there to investigate that house, I think it was Randy that said, "Well, if anything jerks Tex out of bed, I'm leaving, because that's it." It had to be pretty. It had to have a pretty good. It had to be pretty damn big to pull me out of bed. I'll tell you that.
Just like, well, I won't get into that. I know Tex is searching for Bob's picture, and I don't know a lot of people heard about that. We can talk about that too, Tex, if you want, about your investigation in that haunted hill house, which I'm trying to get them on the show here soon.
Cool.
I guess. Go ahead, Tex.
No, I was just going to say, we had some other stuff happen when we was up there, and there's some videos out that we've got on the channel of me calling these critters or these entities out, whatever you want to call them. And in the house, supposedly there's one demon in there, calls himself Toby. And when I went live, and supposedly there's a couple of voices that you can hear when I'm doing this. So honestly, I don't know. I haven't listened to it on the YouTube, but it was weird, because when I was going live and Randy was listening to it and Bob was listening to it over StreamYard, they didn't hear anything, but the people on YouTube said they heard a couple of voices. So I don't know. And and it's not like there was any contamination, because when I did that, I had them lock me in that little closet thing.
Oh, wow.
And turn all the lights out in the house. And then everybody that was with us, they all went outside while I was doing it. So they were all outside.
Spooky.
So it was, we wanted to remove any contamination that we could, So y'all can go back and listen to that.
Yeah, I recommend it. I do. It was
y'all
pretty
tell
cool.
me if you hear anything, but I'm just about ready to bring this up, so I had to actually send it to myself and all that kind of stuff. So
that's cool. So, Kristen, do you believe, while Texas is getting ready to cue that up, do you believe that, like, if you have an encounter of any sort, I don't care, it could be cryptid, it could be supernatural, do you think that you're more apt to see these things or have more encounters, or is that just, dumb luck?
I do. Since being out researching, I've had a lot more. I guess the more you're out there, the more stuff you find, but it does seem to almost attract them to you. As a kid, I always saw ghosts, I guess you could say, or spirits. And since I was a little girl, and still do to this day, but this was a little different, and I'm not sure if I would have still had this incident if I hadn't been out researching. I do think it brings you more closer to the weird. They're attracted to you. So it's almost like they'll hunt you out and find you.
I have to. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, some people say that it opens you up to a lot more stuff, and I don't know. I mean, we just went over that whole missing time thing with me with Jessica, and
Yep. And for
it's
those of you that did not see last week's show, it was it was a cool show. Texan is time lost on my show, and Jessica prior to that has the data on her RVI investigations. So 2 great shows. Go check them out. RVI investigations with Jessica. That was June 1st, July 1st, and mine with Tex. My candid interview with Tex, was just last Thursday. So go check those out for those who haven't seen it. Now,
yeah.
Tex,
If you want to see Tex get rattled,
yeah,
watch last week's show because
yeah,
there was some new evidence brought to light that I wasn't aware of, and it was verified by 2 separate people on 2 separate occasions. So it it kind of shook me up a little bit, kind of rattled me. I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around it. I get thinking about it. I still have kind of a hard time with it, but I ain't going. I don't spook that easy. So I tend when something spooks me, I tend to get mad.
Right. Yeah, and rightfully so.
Here's that picture.
Ooh. Huh.
Yeah.
Now, what's weird? Let me set this up for you. We were playing poker with a supposed spirit, and his name was Willie.
Willie.
Yeah. And prior to this, the 2 of the guys were playing poker, and I walked in the room, and I sat down. So, hey, deal me in. So I scooted Willie over, and I took his chair, and moved him over a spot. And they had just asked him to show them the dead man's hand, which is, if you don't know, that's aces and eights. So we deal me in, we play a hand, and I'll be dadgum if I don't pull aces and eights the next hand.
Wow.
Now that's creepy enough in itself, but that same hand, Willie beat me with 666.
No.
Now come on, you can't write that. You can't make that stuff up. That's like movie material.
And that's all on video. So we haven't put it out there yet. I've got to get the recording from, I think Randy's got it, and but as soon as he can send that to me, I will post that. But right after that, Bob walked in, and he wasn't going to play poker with us. He just went around and he stood behind Willie's chair, and he's sitting there watching us play poker and everything. Well, then we got up, we quit playing poker, and Bob started saying his back was burning, and it kept getting worse and kept getting worse, and we pulled his shirt up, and that's what we found.
Now this is Bob's backside, correct?
Yeah, that's his back. That's in the middle of his back.
So what I'm seeing down there to the right is not his belly button?
No, that's right in the middle of his back.
Okay. That's a pretty big scratch.
Yeah, and if you look at it, it looks almost, it's either an A or possibly the makings of a pentagram.
Yeah, I've said this, the first thing out of my mouth when I seen this sometime back, Tex, if you recall, I thought it looked like the starting of a pentagram, and then it kind of cut off mid-drawing or mid-whatever, scratching or whatever you want to call it, because that's the first thing I saw. It's too bad we can't like bring out the redness, like if we had to kind of focus in closer on that. We don't have that technology, but yeah, so I can see it a little bit better. Yeah, see, I definitely see a pentagram starting. Weird. I really do. I see a star, a half star already.
Wow.
Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. So you can see there's either the A or what's starting to, they tried to, or, and you see a one here and then one here. So it could very well be an A or a pentagram, one of the two. So, and even the closer you get, the more it stands out. So, of course, you can see over here where Bob needs to shave his back, but that's regardless. But
maybe he's just trying to get him like a wax job,
Yeah, right. But what's interesting too about this is at the same time this happened, the next morning we found out we caught an EVP saying cheater.
No.
Yep. And Bob was standing behind Willie watching him play poker.
Oh my gosh.
So that was probably the big thing that happened to us that night. And but Bob had a kind of a tough time with that, and I don't blame him,
Yeah.
And
was that scratch gone by the end of the night, or did it stay?
Yeah, it went away. And what was weird is it took a while, because I've got a picture that I took a minute or two before this one was taken, and you can see it, but it doesn't stand out like it does right here, but you can see it materializing. And so it got worse. The burning got worse. The image popped out more. And then after a few hours, it went away. So, it was definitely something weird.
Yeah, very.
Now, something I had weird happen to me. I went upstairs. This is the second video I've got out there of me investigating by myself. I went upstairs by myself, and that's where Toby's room is, the demon's room. And I went in his room and was doing an EVP session and everything. And I heard a noise, but that could be explained away, whatever. So I'm walking out of the room. I finished the session, and I'm walking out of the room. And there's right to the right of the door, there's a doll sitting on a rocking horse. And she's seismically activated. Okay. So if you touch her or whatever, or vibrations will set her off.
Gotcha.
I was walking up towards the door and she goes off. Okay. Now that doesn't sound too weird. All right. Now what we did, we went back and tried to recreate this. And we found out that there's a spot. It's a soft floor. It's a soft spot in the floor. If you stomp on it, and that's me stomping on it. That's a lot of stomp. So if you stomp on it, you can set her off. But if you watch the video, I'm being quiet. I'm walking softly. And I don't even hit that spot in the floor, because we knew where the spot in the floor was. Mm-hmm. And I watched that video over and over and over and over again. And I haven't got to that spot yet. And she goes off.
Oh.
So, and then earlier I was walking up the stairs, and there's a room that you walk up the stairs, and there's a room back to your right behind you. And then Toby's room is in front of you. And then there's a room over here to the left. So I'll go up the stairs, and I'm walking back. I'll go back, and I'm checking this little girl's room out back here. And I can't remember the name of the room, but I'm standing in the doorway. Now, over on just outside the door, the little girl on the rocking horse was inside the door. And Toby, this motion activated light was on the outside of the door. I'm across the main foyer in the girl's room, and that light comes on. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of weird, whatever. I said, well, but maybe it caught me moving and it set off.
Yeah.
So I waited till it went off, and I had to walk over there and wave my hat in front of it about a foot away before it would go off.
Oh, so something was in front of it. It wasn't you.
Mm-hmm. So there was a few weird things that happened to us. We heard some voices and we heard some footsteps and stuff like that. But we're still going through all the evidence. We had 7 of us there, and we were all recording audio and video. And two of the people that went with us are from Odyssey Radio. You know, we were supposed to have Amy and Laney go up there with us, and they couldn't do it, and which is unfortunate. Man, I wanted them in there, but we replaced them with Rocky and I'm gonna get shot.
What is his partner, Ron? Or was
Yep,
Rocky?
Ron and Rocky. Yeah, Ron and Rocky. They came with us, and so it was. There's a lot of evidence to comb through, but yeah, we had some interesting stuff happen to us. Now, a little teaser of what's coming in the future that we're going to do.
Oh boy.
We're going back.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back, and I say we. I'm going back. They have what's called a lone wolf challenge, and you go spend the night in the house by yourself, and they direct you from outside the house. They direct you via radio or whatever to go in certain rooms and do certain things, you know, that tend to, you know, set these spirits off or whatever. So there's only been 3 people do it. Wow. The rest of them, they've had a lot of people try it, but they end up coming out. They can't handle it. So, well,
you know, Tex, we're going to have we're going to have the owners of that haunted house on our show here coming up here in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And I wanted to ask you something too, Tex, about and Kristen, I want to get you on ghosts because I've got a pretty cool ghost story I want to tell everyone. I'll wait till after the first half of the show regarding some things I saw at my bar. But before I get to you, Kristen, if you've seen a ghost, Tex, can you explain didn't you also see that the shadow man, the Marlboro man or whatever in your house?
In the house I used to live in.
Yeah.
It was a brand new house. We were the first owners. And we started to have some kind of weird stuff happen. We would hear pitter patter little footsteps upstairs, and there wouldn't be nobody up there. My wife got her name called, and one night we were in the living room downstairs, den living room, whatever you want to call it, watching TV. Well, I was sitting on the couch, and she was laid on the couch. She had her head in my lap, and she raises up and she goes, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm right here." And she like jumped out of her skin. She thought she saw me walking up the stairs. So that happened, and there was a room upstairs that none of the kids wanted. Nobody would stay in that room. They were creeped out. I didn't have a problem. It didn't bother me none. I don't know. I never got a creepy feeling up there. But I was in the kitchen. I was working nights at the time, and I was in the kitchen one day. I was by myself, just me and the dogs. And I was standing at the stove, and if you look to your right, it looks out into the den on the fireplace, you know. Okay. And I just caught something out of the corner of my eye, and I looked, and there's an old feller leaning against the wall of the fireplace. He's got his leg kicked up on the fireplace wall, and he's wearing a broad brim hat and what we call a duster, saddle coat, with a rifle crooked over his arm. And I went like this, and I'm kind of looking at him for like a couple of seconds, and he didn't just blink out and go away. He faded. He was like, whoo, you know. Wow. So that happened. But the thing about it is, we never got like any bad feelings. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the kicker was, the icing on the cake was one night, our bedroom was downstairs. I'm laying in bed. It was late at night. And you know how you have little kids that come crawl in bed with you and you end up with feet in your back and everything. Mm. Well, that's what I was getting. So I sat up on the edge of the bed and I looked back, and it's my wife, the dog had crawled up in bed with us, and my youngest daughter. And my youngest daughter had the covers pulled up, and all you could see was the top of her head. Mm. I said, all right. So I said, well, I'll just go up and crash in her bed, right? So I reached over and I patted her on the head. I got up and I went upstairs. I turned the hallway light on. She's laying in her bed, sound asleep.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, crazy.
So I said, all right. I said, okay. So I turned the light off, went back downstairs, walked in the bedroom, walked back into our bedroom, and it was just my wife and the dog in the bed.
Wow. Oh, that's so creepy.
Yeah. Hey, Kristen, before I jump to text, I'm gonna put this up. One of our great members that watches our show all the time, Hilton, had a question. I want to post this. And if I recall from what she had mentioned about that house, didn't Jessica say that people should leave that house alone so the children spirit can leave or something like that? Then he also says, or have I got that completely wrong? Thanks for that text. Why don't you go ahead and
she remote viewed that hill house, and what she picked up on was there are some children spirits in there. And yeah, and I want to talk about what Anita had happened to her real quick too after this. Mm. But there is a demonic presence, and it's holding all those other spirits captive in that house. Yeah. So that's what's going on there. So, but Anita was at Jefferson last year, Jefferson Bigfoot Conference. And pretty much every bed and breakfast, if y'all don't know anything about Jefferson, Texas, it's a quaint little town. It's full of bed and breakfasts and antique shops. And a hell of a good steakhouse. So, anyway, she's staying in one of these bed and breakfasts. And she got woke up and there was something had crawled in bed with her. The mattress pressed out the whole 9 yards. Oh, she didn't touched or nothing, but it's like so. But every one of them's just about every bed and breakfast in the town is pretty much haunted. So,
wow, that'd be cool just to go to and spend the night in the little bed and breakfasts. So, I wish I could make it, but it's not looking so great.
Well, it's a ways off. Maybe you'll make it.
Hey, maybe so. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. It all depends on my work schedule.
Right.
Yep. But wow, that's crazy.
Maybe you can. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Maybe you can swap schedules with somebody or something.
Yeah. So we're a little short, so really don't have anybody to swap with right now.
So what you're saying is, if you're a nurse and you need a job,
yep, come here. We'll hire you on the spot.
We're having a shortage of nurses down here too. I think all over the country they are, really.
Yeah.
Speaking of nurses, I'm sorry, I had to step out for just a second. I had some people come in my back door, but so were you done with Anita's story? Because I had a question for Kristen. Hey, Kristen, being that you work in the ER, a nurse, and unfortunately, fortunately, however you want to view it, I'm sure the death travels past you quite frequently.
Yes.
Have you had any spirits floating about the hospital that you're aware of?
Tons. I mean, that place is full of little spirits, and we've actually named a couple of them because they are seen and heard throughout the hospital. Yeah, Wendell and Fred.
We actually got a picture that you took.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Of something in the reflection of a window of a glass door or the glass on a door. But yes, we've had so much happen. I mean, even patients see a little boy or hear a little boy, and there won't be a little boy as a patient. I mean, there was one patient that got up out of bed and was looking up under her bed for the little boy. No little boy. But yeah, all departments have experienced weird stuff happening. Voices, screams. I've been growled at before by something in a certain room. And when I told respiratory, I was like, oh my gosh, you won't just you won't believe what just happened. She's like, oh yeah, it's done that before.
So what do you really quickly, a growl? So it's not like a human, like a growl, like an animal or
I don't deep, maybe animal. I don't know if it was human. I don't know. It was just a deep growl. And a cop was actually up there at the same time that this happened, and he heard it too and pulled his gun because we knew there was nothing in that room. There was no patient in that room. It was an empty room, and it freaked us out. But yeah, he pulled his gun out. I don't know if he thought he was going to shoot this invisible creature or what, but there was nothing in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure where a creature would end up in a hospital, because I'm assuming your hospital is just for human beings. I mean, a growl, I'm thinking the first thing that popped in my head was maybe a spirit, like a demon or something from one of your people that passed on. You know what I mean? Certainly, that's the first thing I thought of anyways. That would be creepy to hear a growl in a hospital. It'd be creepy enough to see a spirit, but a growl. That'd really flip my
yeah.
Anita says, she's a hospice nurse. Anita's a hospice nurse. And she says, I've seen them drift out of a person and leave.
Wow. That's amazing. We've had a stretcher to get pulled up off the floor, I guess you could say. Now, I wasn't there for this encounter, but I was told by both nurses that were there, the x-ray tech was there. Just real quick, a lady had passed away unexpectedly. She was left on the stretcher, the EMS stretcher, actually. So they're a lot smaller than a hospital stretcher. And they had the seat belts. She was strapped down, where they had coded or worked, or she didn't make it. But she was younger. The cops were up there. The EMS were still there. 2 nurses, radiology tech were all at the desk, and they had the curtain pulled in front of the room in front of them. So, you wouldn't be staring at a dead body laying there. So they were all sitting there finishing up charting. We have a ton of charting when someone passes. And all of a sudden, this loud, they said it sounded like the stretcher was flipped over or either flew in the air and slammed on the ground again, one or the other. And so a very loud noise, and they all looked right in front of them. And the curtain that was pulled flowed out like a gust of wind. So they really thought the stretcher had turned over. So everyone took off running in the room. Nothing. There was nothing out of place. Nothing had turned over. And it was so loud, it actually got the doctor out of his room. And he stays in a little closed room behind the nurse's station. He come out, and they were like, oh, my gosh, this happened, So he just walked up, and he said, unstrap her. He's not from the U.S. He's like, unstrap her. Her soul is trying to leave. So they did. Her body was then put in an old ultrasound room that we don't have a morgue, so we'll stash them in abandoned rooms. So till the funeral home gets there, sometimes if we're full. And she was placed in the ultrasound room. Housekeeping come in the morning. We're doing their little rounds, and the X-ray tech's a huge jokester. So the EVS lady, she was hearing scratching on the door. So she was like, Farron, you better quit playing with me and come out of that room right now. Well, it kept on. So she actually opened the door. Farron was not in there, and there was this body bag. So she got out of there really quick, run over to the ER, telling everyone somebody's scratching on the door. So it's just a bunch of things with this one patient. But that's just one of so many stories I have of the ghost of the ER. And I see Anita said, do you think during the full moon there's more abnormal activity? Not really. There's a lot more crazy patients that come in. But as far as ghost-wise, I don't see any coincidence there.
I was going to ask you too, like right around Halloween, I don't know if you've ever worked the late shift on Halloween, but you seem to get more weirdos coming in, like, trying to with stab wounds. And I mean, just they were trying to do something scary. They took it too far and ended up with a knife stuck up their rear end.
Not so much. That's actually normal in this town on every
Oh,
day.
God.
Oh,
Oh, no. I got to visit your town now.
yes. That's
So
normal.
we've got a couple of comments that you know, Kristen, Anita also said, now, guys, now, that same weekend in Jefferson, I didn't know this. She says, because Anita talked to these people, Jeff Meldrum and Elijah Fisher, she's an author, but Dr. Meldrum, I'm sure you all know that name.
Mm-hmm.
He had a paranormal experience.
Really?
Now, you're talking about a guy that is, he's straight line. These things have no abilities. These things, these critters and all this kind of stuff. And how many times have I told y'all that any researcher that's been doing this for a while is going to have something that he can't explain happened to him or her? And that proves my point right there. I don't care how hard-nosed scientific you are, there's crap out there you can't explain. Mm-hmm. Now, you won't hear these fellers talking about it, or these people talking about it very much, because they think it makes them look not so scientific.
Right.
But when you have stuff happen to you that you can't explain, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
So that I thought that was interesting. Now, Hilton says his stepsister, who's sensitive, sees things, she refuses to go into the hospital. It's just too overwhelming for her. Mm-hmm. And I've heard that before. People that are sensitive and stuff, that when they go into like a hospital or even a funeral home or something, it's just they can't stand it. It's just there's too much activity going on.
Yeah, there probably is. And, hospitals for me, especially the last 6 months, I've been there too many times with some loved ones that have gone to the other side. And the hospital, man, I've had to see a couple bodies of late in a hospital, and that's it's hard for me sometimes, especially when I had a lot happen in the last 6 months, a couple close people and a cousin, but it's like, ugh. But I know there's got to be trapped spirits there. I mean, not being released from the body. And maybe we can talk about that in the second half, because I know I want to hear a little more about Kristen and TEX's ghost encounters. I had a cool couple from my bar, but what I'd like to do now is we'll roll that 5-minute break, because we're at 5228 TEX, and everybody on Odyssey Radio and iHeartRadio, you're going to have to subscribe to TEX's TEX 'S Front Porch or Bigfoot to Michigan Rob to get the second half. So we got more ghost stories, more creepy stuff happening, and we're going to get into it with TEX, Kristen, and myself. So everybody, hang tight and come on over and subscribe.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. 3 minutes. We're almost there. Two-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Texas Front Porch, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. This is Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. And for those of you that was expecting MK Davis, you know, MK, he had to see the dentist today. Yeah, he did, right at 12 noon. And I'm not going to mess with the dentist. And so he'll be on August 25th. We'll be talking about this behind the Patterson Gimlin film. You guys do not want to miss that. We're talking about ghosts here on the show and some experiences by Kristen and TEX and myself. Whoops, sorry, Kristen. And before we get started, again, everybody subscribe to our channels. And TEX has a new store open, brand new merchandise from TEX. Go check it out. It's really cool. And I also have opened my own store. I call it a boutique shop. That's right. Attracting the ladies. But yes, there's stuff for dudes as well. Go check it out. You can find that on my YouTube page in the About section. So help support us. Anything you do, we appreciate. What we do love the most is when you share out our content and when you spread the good word on our platforms. And with that getting started, we ended. Where do we end? We ended about what? Ghosts? What was it? Kristen, help me out.
It was Ghost. It was Ghost.
You know, I got a story I want to share, but I'm gonna wait till a little later. So, but Kristen, anything else you want to? You know, we got to pump you up a little bit here. You know, you're the new team member, and I want people to know more about you. So, what else can you share with us?
Well,
before we get into some other things.
Well, I've got another ghost story I've never told on a
well, you know what?
Podcast or anything.
Hey, people seem to be enjoying it. They love you. Go for it.
Yeah, like I said, I saw them all the time when I was little. Not as frequently now that I'm older, but well, one creepy thing that happened to me was I lived, of course, with mom and dad in the middle of town when I was a little girl. I was probably like 4 years old. And I remember it so clearly to this day. And I would see ghosts so frequently, and it would scare me that I'd end up sleeping with mama all the time. And dad was gone a lot trucking, so I'd be sleeping with mama every night. And I woke up one night, and actually I hadn't even been to sleep. I take that back. I didn't wake up. I hadn't even went to sleep. And there was this man walking down the hallway towards the bedroom. This man was looked like he'd been burned really badly, and he was wearing a like a reddish shirt. I think maybe jeans. Couldn't quite see waist down, but his face is what really terrified me. It looked like he had been burned horribly, and he was wearing a hat, like an old brown hat. And I started screaming, telling mama somebody's in the house, they're coming towards the bedroom. I was screaming like I thought it was somebody. My mom jumps up. There's nobody there. I mean, she grabs her gun, is going all through the house thinking somebody's done broken in the house. And, I start telling her there's this man, he's burned. It looks like, I mean, I remember it so clearly. Now, I've seen a lot of burn victims now, especially being a nurse, and this man had been horribly burned. So nobody was there. We went back to bed. Did not know this fact until my mom and dad later told me that right down, I don't even know, 200 feet from where their house was, it's over just a little hill, flattened out. There was an older man that had actually burned up in a fire in a house. And you would find little pieces of nails and stuff from an old home place. But yeah, I'm not sure if I was seeing him that had been burned in a fire, but I saw something that night. So creepy.
Yeah, I don't know about you. Yeah, I mean, it just gives me chills really think, especially hospitals. I think they do give me the creeps, Tex and Kristen. I don't know, Tex. Have you ever encountered anything? I mean, have you been in the hospital, Tex? Have you ever encountered anything strange that's perusing the corridors of a hospital late at night?
No, I haven't. I do have the opportunity to go investigate a shut down hospital. So that's going to happen in the future. So we'll see. And they do have a morgue. I'm planning to spend some time locked in a drawer in the morgue.
Ooh.
Doing an EVP session, maybe go live if I've got the signal. So
that
should be interesting.
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
Where I live, I have a friend of mine who is an actual ghost hunter. Kind of does it part time, outside of other things. This my best buddy's wife. There's a place, a sanitarium or sanatorium, whatever the pronunciation is, called Eloise in Michigan, and it's probably about 4 miles from my house. And it's been tore down and cemented over. Now, friends of mine were out and were rummaging around several acres of property, and they actually found an opening which they were able to sneak in and get under Eloise into this underground cavern beneath the sanitarium. And they said it was very creepy. They fired off some pictures, and there was like gurneys laying around, a lot of medical equipment, old, rusted out, dispersed about, but they didn't have any creepy encounter or anything. But what they did, they all started flashing photographs. Some of them had their flash on, some of them did not. And they really didn't feel scared, or they didn't have any creepy vibe come over them. But when they got back to the house, they started reviewing their pictures they took. One person actually had their video on their camera going, and I've seen these pictures. This was like a year and a half ago, and I've seen the pictures, some of the video. And I saw pictures of the gurneys. I saw pictures of medical equipment, dispersed about this cavern area. But in the background of all these pictures, there were like orbs. I'm not going to. Hey, listen, they weren't ghosts. There weren't pictures of people, but there was a lot of these like dull colored orbs. Mostly they were like opaque colored, maybe light yellows. And we tried to blow up a couple of these orbs, and in a couple of these orbs, though, it kind of looked like there were faces. But now I can't say for certain that they were, but it kind of, and a lot of times your imagination gets the most of you, but it kind of looked like people, people's faces in these pictures, and I thought that was pretty strange. And I'm just wondering, I hear lots of stories about people that don't see anything in these supposed haunted houses or wherever, and you don't see anything, but you flash a picture. Now the exposure in your background, you see something. Have you guys heard about stuff like that before?
Yeah, I've heard quite a few stories of that.
Real quick, talking about the new store and everything, I'm going to do a shameless plug here. I was making some, designing some stuff and everything, and I thought I would share something for the ladies. And I want your opinion, Kristen. I want your opinion, and the ladies in the chat, I want y'all's opinion on this, and to see if it's if you like it, or if you don't, I'll change it. But
oh, cool.
Now, okay, so it looks like dadgummit, I left Texas off of it. Oh, let's see.
Well,
oh nope, there it is.
Oh, wow, yeah,
cute.
Not being a lady, I will say right off the bat, Tex, since I'm not a female, I wouldn't mind seeing a female sporting that.
The shirt would have to be short so it didn't cover up Texas.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure we could figure something out. We've got some other stuff here, and as soon as this dadgum thing tries to load, we got hoodies, we got sweatshirts.
I'm actually a sasquatch.
I'm actually a dogman too, so
yeah.
We've got and look at here, we got of course we got stickers. And
very nice,
flip-flops,
nice
phone cases, backpacks, coffee cups, drinking water bottles.
Yes,
very nice. This one, I like this one. It says, I tried to get creative with them. It says, warning, I'm a little squatchy. So.
Oh, I love it.
And then it's got the logo on the other side of it.
Yes.
And then we've got, I like the beer glass, the Pilsner glass, as it were.
Yeah. It's a pint.
Yes.
Pint glass.
But let's see, we've got some other stuff here too. We've got, let's see. Let's see. I wanted to show y'all something here. Let's see. Where's that? We'll try this one. Come on. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. I like the joggers.
What, this one?
Yes.
This one?
Love it.
So y'all go.
Yeah. Go over to Texas.
Do rags. They don't have do rags.
Oh, I know, because I was going to make a classic one for mine. I love this because on the Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob show, Rob is not even flaunting his store yet. Yet my buddy Tex puts his on my show, which is great. It's great. And go over to Tex's front porch, go to his store and check it out and buy some merchandise. I'm not going to flaunt mine right now on the show, because I'm going to sit back and wait for some more products to be added. But yes, go check them both
That's
out.
A lie. He just don't know how to do it.
I just don't know how to do it. Tex, we did a little mind speak there. We performed mind speak. For those of you who don't believe mind speak, he read my mind. I said that son of a gun, Tex. I don't even know how to do it yet. So he beat me to it. But yes, my store is pretty cool, just like Texas. You'll see the iconic BMR bandana and Brunch with Michigan Rob, everything. I got glassware shorts, everything, some girl stuff. It's cool. It's pretty fun. It's just fun doing this, Tex. And I know a lot of people out there want to just check it out. Again, you don't even have to buy nothing, you guys. We love our audience. We love what you do for us on a daily basis. We enjoy that you continually come to support us. And for everybody in chat and everybody listening now and later, Bigfoot Rob, on behalf of Texas Front Porch, we love you all. And we do really appreciate your patronage, because we don't say it enough, but we do. Mm-hmm. And so thank you.
I will say this, for those of you who wonder that, what all this stuff, when we raise this money, what it goes for. Right now we're trying to raise money to buy a FLIR, because we're looking at doing some river investigations. And, what we're looking at doing is putting in upriver and then drifting down 10 to 15 miles, making it a couple of day trip out of it. And we want to run these FLIRs and night vision and stuff while we go. So, and we're going to be fishing the whole time. Don't get me wrong, but that's because we like to fish, but it's also because we don't want to look like we're looking, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. And so we're trying to raise money for that, more equipment. And also, what many of you may not know is we're scattered out all over the country. We got some of us down here in Texas. We got some in Georgia. We got, up there in Michigan. So when we want to all go to a conference, it's not cheap to get the whole team together, and y'all know how expensive stuff is. So, we try to, at least, if we can't pay for a plane ticket, or we try to at least, help out. So, but there's also another thing that we do. If there's a listener or a fan of the show or whatever, or a researcher or whatever that's having a tough time, we're going to help them out. That's so awesome. It's in today's world, I don't think that happens enough. Mm-hmm. It's just I think if we did that more to each other, this would be a whole lot better world.
Yeah, I agree. I
agree. Thank you for trying to plug Rob on your show here.
No, I'm kidding with you, Tex. I mean, I do the same, and we actually have to do that every show, because maybe not show all the wares, but we got to continue to plug what we do, because hey, we enjoy it. We enjoy our folks out here watching and listening, and I think they like it too, even if they don't buy. It's kind of funny to look at some of the creative T-shirts that we have out there, just for even a laugh is a good thing to do. But we do take it seriously, and we take our audience seriously. And with that being said, we've got about 15 minutes to go in this show, and here's something I'd like to share, since we're on the subject of ghosts. Tex, you might have heard this, might not, but I think that people will enjoy this. This is, by the way, on my channel too. I think 3 months ago I put this out, but as a lot of people know, I owned a bar, and I sold it some time back. And a lot of times I'll be working late at night. And I'd be in the office. The office is kind of in back of the bar. When we shut down, what I do is I make sure all the doors are locked. Everybody's out. Typically, I'm not there late at night. When I was working, it was usually my cook and one of my bar manager would be there. They'd lock up and they'd send me the numbers in the morning. But a few times I would stay the night. And I literally mean sleep there. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the back office. I fall asleep. It's about 3:34 in the morning where I hear the rattling of drink glasses. And I'm like, what in the world is... Now, I will say this. Sometimes some of my workers would stay after hours and kind of partake in some libations. So I'm figuring, yeah. So I was figuring maybe that what was going on. So, and my office, by the way, was in the basement of this place. So I had to go up these stairs, and I hear this rattling going on. I look around. Who's there? Who's there? Now, when I get to the top of the stairs, though, I don't hear the rattling, of course. So I check all the doors once again. I go back downstairs into the office. I had a bed set up down there. I just went to bed. About an hour later, I look at the clock. It's 4:35 a.m., something like that. I know it's 4:30-ish. I hear this going on, but now I hear talking. So I go up the stairs, and I swear at the corner, in the middle of this section of the bar, it was a square. I had one section of this place was just a long rail bar, and then there was a square bar in another part, and that's where the office came up through there. And for the life of me, Tex, Kristen, to everybody listening, I seen 4 apparitions at the corner of the bar. They were transparent. I could see through them to the other side of the bar. And I could see the walls. I could see right around. But what was very odd is they kind of look like they're from the 1950s or the 1960s. In fact, there was like 2 apparitions that had like a suit on. What I like to say is, like, remember like Derringer, like the old gangster suits that men used to wear with the hat, brimmed hat, and the women kind of reminded me of flappers, with the long cigarettes, and the cigarette holder. I mean, this is what I was looking at. But what was very odd about this, there was something physical about it, because there was, and I know the bar was cleaned off. There was 2 shot glasses and 2 wine glasses on the bar. And there was an open bottle of Jack Daniels and an open bottle of wine.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And these 4 people appeared to be indulging themselves from the bar. I wasn't scared. In fact, when I owned my own place, it was like, this is my place. Nothing can happen to me. And I say, hey, what's going on? And I was kind of weird when I said that, because I was speaking to them as though they were people, but my mind, I could see through them. And the way they were dressed, it was nobody from the year 2020 or whatever.
Oh.
So, but I said, what's going on? And I get maybe 50 feet from the bar, and I'm kind of getting irritated because they're not paying attention to me. These apparitions, they're sitting there having a good old time, so it seemed. So I go over on the outside and get in back of the bar. I said, well, if you guys are going to sit here and drink on my expense, I'm going to join you. And I think I'm going crazy at this point, right? I know I can't be, but I know I'm seeing ghosts. So I get around the side, and I had all my bar equipment and all the bottles of booze were in the center of the square bar. So it was kind of like, if you ever saw a movie that showed Cheers, it was kind of set up like that. Mm-hmm. And when I get to the front, I see a shot glass. It was like in the air. A physical shot glass is in the air.
How have you never told us that?
I can't give you all my great information, Tex. I got lots of stories about the bar, man. It's just that now that we're doing a ghost show, I'm going to say this. And as soon as I looked at it, I slammed my hand on the bar at one end of the rail, and it falls out of the air and hits the ground. It's the top of the bar, I should say. And I look at these 4 apparitions again, dressed like the 2 women were like flappers, the other 2 people were like gangsters, and they kind of look at me finally as if, and all of a sudden though, they got really old. All of a sudden, they look, they look like they're in their 20s or 30s, as far as age goes, and all of a sudden they kind of faded away. They got older looking and just faded to nothing. And I'm shaking my head, and then I go over and I grab that bottle of Jack Daniels and that wine, and they were mine. They were physical. And, they were brand new because the Jack Daniels bottle, the label was cracked. It was ripped. And I know for a fact I never opened that. The bottle of wine had a cork. The cork was open and stuck in top, which you had to physically take it off. And there was actually a corkscrew hole in the top of it. Yeah, it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
How old is that building?
Oh, shoot. I tell you what, that bar used to be called Stanley's Bar. And that bar was there since the 1930s.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So you got a good look at them. I mean, this encounter.
Well, they were transparent. No, they were transparent. But yeah, I did. I seen distinct 2 suits, brim hats, the women, flappers. It appeared like they were smoking, but I smelled no smoke. And they were just sitting there minding their own business. And I was actually yelling towards them.
Wow. Did y'all have any security cameras in there to where you could run the
tape? That I looked on the security camera the next day.
Ask too, Kristen.
Yeah.
I had the security camera. You know what was on my security camera? The bottle of Jack Daniels in the glass, but it doesn't show how it got there.
Really?
Yeah.
So it didn't pick them up, or
it didn't show. It didn't show it didn't show the whiskey glass in the air. It did show the Jack Daniels, and it showed the wine.
That's crazy.
Interesting.
No, and it was like, so I never really, to be honest with you, Tex, first time I've shared this on my channel a couple months ago, but I never really brought it up because it's kind of like, wow, like kind of really a crazy story. But yeah, and I kind of dulled it out of my mind, much like a lot of other things that right now I'm kind of going back with all the weird things that happened in the bar, which were lots of weird things. Now that was the craziest because I've seen 4 things, but I always would hear tinkling of glasses. I would always, there would be like in the cook's area, the plates would fall and break on the ground. Now that could be anything. We've all heard those stories, but they actually see 4 apparitions and look right through them and then have them look to me. And then they faded away and got older, almost like a skeleton. But it kept, the more it faded, the less you could see, the less descriptive it was. But before that happened, man, they were sitting there at the edge of the bar at one of the corners. And, I told this story once a couple months ago, and I've never really told to anybody. I didn't even tell the people at work because I was feeling like the Bigfoot encounter, right? Well, you don't want to tell someone that. And so, a lot of things, I got quite a few stories that I haven't shared. And I'll be sharing them lately on the channel, but yeah, that was something. And I talked to somebody because I thought I saw ghosts as a young kid on the walls of my bedroom. I would see ghosts, but I thought I was dreaming because the funny story I have is the one ghost I saw as a young child looked like the ghost from Scooby-Doo. All it was an apparition. It looked like a person with a sheet over them with cutout eyeballs. So I thought I was dreaming. But I was talking to somebody, says, yeah, it was probably a ghost. I was talking to Barry Littleton, actually. You know who he is, Barry. We had him on the show. He's going to be coming back soon. We're going to go over a lot of this stuff. And yeah, so I'm thinking, like we were talking earlier, Kristen, once you see something, I think that you might be pronounced more apt to see something in the future. Someone told me that when I was up camping up north, me and my brother, 7, 8 years old, it'd be in the Upper Peninsula. We'd have our own bedroom, and there was a bay window, and the moonlight, with the positioning of this cottage, the moon would always illuminate the bedroom. And guess what? Every night, me and my brother sit there BSing, before we fall asleep, and every night, a shadow would cover up the moon and darken the entire bedroom for about 4 or 5 seconds, and then it would slip to the side. This happened every night. I was talking to Robin McCrae because I'm doing a show coming up pretty soon. Robin's gonna be a guest on the show, breaking down, because she says she spoke with my Bigfoot. She told me that was a Bigfoot back then when I was 7, and it was watching in on me and my brother. So there's a lot of things that's I'll be bringing to the surface for all of our channels, and we got more to come. And I tell you what, though, that encounter with the ghosts and the spirits was something. And you know what? Since that happened, I never seen him again, but I always would hear footsteps, clinking of glasses, and me being a weirdo, I started spending more nights in the basement just to pick up on these things. Maybe the average person wouldn't, but for some reason I felt calm. I wasn't scared.
I wonder, were you like a ghost to them? Were they just going about their normal, we're hanging out at the bar, and then you are a ghost to them, and they're like, oh, wow, Gio said that. It's a ghost.
You know what? Maybe, Kristen, because I tell you what, I definitely tried to get their attention, and I definitely was kind of mad. And I slammed my hand like that and then all of a sudden the glass falls, boom. I'm like, whoa. Now I did get a chill with that, but I've never seen a physical object in suspended animation like that.
Yeah, I know. Neither have I. That's pretty awesome.
Kristen, I want to ask that thing that you were seeing when you were little. When did it stop?
It really never did stop. Now, I only saw the burned man once, but I mean, gosh, until we moved from there, you would see things, hear things. I know you're all talking about somebody crawling in bed. It was almost like a cat that would walk on the bed. You could feel like little steps. I mean, it seemed like a cat, though. I don't know. But my dad would see somebody in a white T-shirt walk down the hallway. So would my mom. I'd have someone calling my mama's name in the middle of the night that would wake me up. It just never stopped. And then we moved from there and moved to the country, and we still had creepy things in the country, but nothing like that was going on in town. Right. So I think it was just the area.
And so nothing, you don't think anything followed you? It's just...
I don't. I think it was his property or its property, and it stayed with the land. Now they've actually built apartments, I do believe, or like duplexes where the house and all was. So I'm curious, how many folks are seeing this little man walk down their hallway at night?
Right. And I was going to ask Rob that too. Since you got rid of the bar, have you heard did you hear anything that happened? Did anybody else have anything happen after you got rid of the bar that you heard?
Not that I hear, because unfortunately, not that I envisioned this, but I sold mine 3 months before COVID hit, right?
Right.
And so the person that bought it from me you went out of business. So it's been shut down. So I get lucky for me, unlucky for the guy that bought it from me, because it's just sitting there. It makes me sad because the whole parking lot's grown in. It's overgrown. No one's taking care of it. It's not my responsibility. But for 13 years, Tex, it makes me sad that it looks like crap now. Yeah. I almost want to go up there, hire a crew, and just clean it up. I don't know. I've been investigating to see if he still owns it, what the deal is, but it's just sitting there with there's not even for sale sign on it, man. Actually, now it does look very creepy. And I liked it. I wish they didn't change the locks, because I bet you there's some stuff going on now.
I'm sure they're having a good old time in that bar.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. Yeah, Tex, I have a couple cool stories. I haven't told everything. I can't, unload everything. We've only been doing this for a year and a half, man. We gotta save some of the good stuff. But but the bar, a lot of that's the creepiest story. But growing up, though, as a kid, I've seen a lot of ghosts. A lot of them. I just never expounded on them because, they'll come out in due time. But and the only reason I'm saying this today is because I'm just trying to remember back as a child, right? I had the Bigfoot encounter, but now I reflect back on growing up, the things that I saw that I blew off as nothing. Now
Right.
today they're resonating as actually something. So that's really why, I think you get what I'm saying, right, Tex?
Oh
Kristen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the more you talk about ghosts and spirits, the more you see them or hear them, and the more you acknowledge that they're there. I don't know if they feel comfortable to come towards you, or if it just opens up your mind to allow you to see and hear a little more. But I do feel like the more I talk about ghosts, you'll start to hear more stuff. Or it could just be me being paranoid. But
No,
Well,
I was just real briefly, and you guys, I'm not gonna say no more stories, but I had the one with my niece that the ghost niece had visited me. I seen her as a kid and as a grown up.
Okay.
But with what you're saying, Kristen, the more things that if I really get in tune to something that I'm investigating or watching a YouTube channel or on the internet, and if I really concentrate on it, studying it, I don't mean manifest it, but it seems like it's weird things manifest. I never had that mist come down my hallway until I started like watching these shows about exorcisms and demons and ghosts and Bigfoot. It never happened to me before until I started really investing time into it and studying it versus just casually watching it. So,
there is a theory out there that the more we talk about it, the more energy we give them.
Yeah,
So,
I can see
true.
that.
and you mentioned exorcism, which is I was reading a deal the other day. The Catholic Church here in the last year or so has been overwhelmed with requests for exorcisms.
I read about that too. Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting. And that's
Yeah.
something we can touch on at a later date. Maybe we can look into it a little
I'd
bit
love
harder.
to get
Because
that'd
I
be
would love to
great.
get a Catholic priest on here.
Ooh.
There was you guys got to see this. It's Art Bell. He did a 8-part miniseries on his show with I'll have to research the name. I forgot the name of this priest, but he did 2 6 or 8 2-hour shows with this priest who exorcised demons. He claimed to do over 1,000 exorcisms, and a lot of them were scary,
Mhm.
and you got to look it up. It's not Art Bell somewhere. I got to that. Yeah. Father, I forgot his name, but that creeps me out. Like I said, I can't watch any of those exorcism movies, like even that old one, The Exorcist. It's like, ugh, but
Yeah, they're revamping that.
yeah, oh god.
Yeah, Father Malachi Martin.
Yep, there it is. Thanks. Too much information. Awesome. I recommend that for anybody that's into that. That's really cool.
And I know we're fixing to wrap it up, but it's Father Guido Sarducci. I do want to try. I'll look into that, and I'll try to get us a priest on here, and that's willing to talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was a great show. Tex, Kristen, everybody who was looking for MK Davis, she'll be on August 25th on this 12 noon like usual. So he had to see the dentist, but this was a fabulous show. I'm glad. Every once in a while, Tex, we don't need a guest, right? We can just sit around and shoot the crap. We all got lots of stories and insights, and it certainly looks like our audience loved it. And thank you to everybody in chat. Thanks to everybody who's going to listen later. Again, check out Tex's store. Check out my store. Check out Tex's front porch, Bigfoot, Mr. Robin. Check out Jason's Suru papers. And I always got to throw out Bob Van Buren. He don't talk a lot of cryptid stuff, but he's got a show called Van Buren Variety on YouTube. He has interesting guests on. I mean, there's always a topic for somebody that you might be interested in. It could be from gardening to rock bands to local legends. Go check out Bob. I don't plug him enough. He's got a cool little show. And
we got Jessica tomorrow night. So
Jessica's on tomorrow night. Tex, what's on tap with Jessica?
I believe she's doing. Dad going. I can't remember the name of the encounter, but it's you know what? there's some homework for you. Go over and check it out. It's already scheduled. It's out there.
Jason tonight's got the Shuru papers.
Yeah, is that
we don't care about that.
is the dogman?
True, Jason.
Yeah, Jason's going to be talking flat Earth tonight, I think.
Oh God, yeah, I'll be sure not to watch that one. Just kidding. I'm going to come on and ask if you know how many times I've poured water on my globe expecting it to stay on top.
Poor Jason, he's gonna catch it tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. All right.
But,
well,
y'all missed Jessica Friday night. She's remote viewed a feller's encounter with being abducted. So yeah, it's a real famous case. So it's going to be a good one, you know. And boy, she sent me for a loop when she remote viewed mine. I'll tell you that much. So
yeah. And there was one before. There was one question. Someone says, "Tex, how come you were so flabbergasted when I interviewed you last week?" You guys go back, watch the show, please. Great show. There's some video that we speak about that. Well, you have to watch the show. That was unnerving for Tex, and we'll leave it at that. Go watch it. It's a great show. Tex, if you want to sign us off, find that button, and we'll talk to everybody next Thursday. We're on 5 shows in 4 days, so go check out the channels. Thank you, Kristen. Lovely job. Tex, as always, great show.